Right, and you heard Ian make mention of it. We have crews out at one of the hardest hit areas.
Yeah, really tough to look at tonight. Jack Heiberger is live at the Prairie Lake Estates Mobile Home Park, where most of our video from Sky Fox 9 has been coming from this evening. Jack, law enforcement had all hands on deck this afternoon as they treated people and searched for survivors.
You know, every single Barron County Sheriff's deputy on scene here, along with first responders from across this multi-county region. You have to look far to see the extent of the damage here. This tree, this old growth tree, ripped out of the ground. But I want you to see this video. Take a look at this. This really puts in perspective just how powerful this tornado was. Again, we've confirmed 25 injured. Some are minor, some we're told are serious. One person at this point confirmed dead. That number could possibly grow. During the initial response, think about this. 6 people were put in one ambulance and rushed to the hospital, including a child. First responders, as we speak, are still clearing this trailer park home by home, marking them off as they go. The injured have been taken to Lakeview Medical Center. When first responders first arrived here, there was a gas leak. They've been able to shut that down, we're told. But the search is continuing at this hour. This is what Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald had to tell us just a few minutes ago.
First responders could hear people yelling. There's other people that were okay, their trailers were okay. They said there's somebody in that trailer. I know there is. I just talked to them. Then we would search that trailer. Our main concern was the gas leak for a long time. We did, when the 3rd Fire Department got on scene, they were assigned to the gas leak and they were able to get that shut off with a temporary shut off, and then when We Energies got here very rapidly.
Jeff Kelsey, this is a semi flipped over you're looking at right now along the highway. Again, this gives you an idea of just how strong these winds were. Frankly speaking, we have yet to see the most extensive damage at this trailer park. It's in an area where they're still working. They have the media and the public along this road. They're still working at this hour to make sure there's no one else inside the park. We'll, of course, keep you updated. For now, back to you.
All right, Jack, we'll get back in. Fox 9 viewers have sent us some powerful photos showing the extent of the damage in western Wisconsin. Some were also taken by Fox 9 truck operator Pete Hardy. Look at these pictures. More of the damage, and you can see it also at fox9.com. Plus, whenever severe weather strikes, show us your best images on social media using the hashtag Fox9Weather. This storm tearing apart just about anything in its way.
And Fox 9's Ted Haller also in the area of Chetek, Wisconsin tonight. And Ted, you know, it is dark now. It's going to be harder to search. And this is also an area where people go to get away from things and unplug a little bit. So what can you tell us?
That's right. We were just talking about that, Kelsey, and always dangerous, too, when you have power lines down when it gets darker. But we're at the entrance to the mobile home park, and witnesses tell us the tornado came from that direction. It crossed the road I'm standing on right here. Then it went through the mobile home park behind me, crossed a highway, and then went through the turkey farm that you may have seen some pictures from. But one of the first people on scene to get video was Fox 9 storm chaser Tim Purrington. Tim joins me now. And Tim, we're going to show some of the video you shot, but tell us what you saw when you arrived.
Well, we picked up the damage path about 3-4 miles west of here, and it was hard getting in here. A lot of trees down, and we were like, oh, this is not going to be good. And finally made it into the mobile home park, and a lot of the mobile home park is not recognizable. I mean, I was looking around trying to see if I could see actual buildings, and a lot of them are just gone. And, you know, across the street, the whole turkey farm is gone with just turkeys running all over.
And you told me you could hear searchers going through the mobile home park shouting. What were they saying?
Yeah, when we arrived on scene, we could hear the firemen going through yelling, anyone in there, moving rubble, and checking to see if they could find anybody.
And Tim, you've been chasing the storm that produced this tornado since the New Richmond area, right? Tell us, what was it like to drive in this storm?
We picked it up just west of New Richmond, started chasing it. We were trying to stay on it as far as we could. We picked up tennis ball size hail just south of Amory, and then we could no longer stay with the storm. It just got ahead of us too fast, and then we were able to finally see that on radar that it was probably tornadoing, and we got here.
What kind of hail were you seeing from this storm?
We got hit by tennis balls, so we got some new dents in the car, but it was pretty big, and then we knew when we were getting hit by tennis balls that this was probably going to be a pretty big storm going forward.
And where in Wisconsin were you seeing the tennis ball size hail?
Just south of Amory.
Okay. And I can say I was looking at Tim's vehicle earlier, and there's a lot of bumps. You couldn't tell me which ones came from this storm versus other storms, but clearly a very violent storm that produced this tornado.
Yeah, we don't see damage around here like this very often. I mean, you can see in the video that, trees are snapped off 20 feet in the air, pretty large diameter trees. So this is pretty extensive.
Well, we're glad you're okay. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you for sharing that video with us, Tim. Really appreciate it. And like Kelsey, like you were saying, it is getting darker here, but there are still searchers and emergency personnel everywhere you look, and we know they will be here as long as it takes to make sure everyone is either okay or getting the medical attention they need. But we'll send it back to you in the studio now.
All right, thank you, Ted. And while we here in the metro were spared the worst of the severe weather, some areas did still see the storms today. This video was posted to Twitter by Fox 9 reporter Rob Olson. You can see the hail there. This was the scene in Eagan this afternoon, and his home a couple of miles away, spared by this, but some pretty good-sized hailstones coming down there. When severe weather strikes, you can stay ahead of the storm with the Fox 9 weather app right there on your phone. Up-to-date information all the time. It features live radar and weather alerts. It's free on the iPhone and the Android devices. It is, priceless piece of technology.
It really is. It'll give you the warnings you need. We'll continue tracking this with our reporters later on in our newscast.